Hello, everybody, and welcome to Talking Transformers Toys, a brand new show where myself, David, and Andy, my co-host, say hello, Andy.
Hello, Andy.
We'll spend all of our time, I knew you were going to do it. We'll spend all of our time talking about transforming toys because we kind of like them, specifically the ones bearing the name of Transformers. So for this inaugural episode, I thought, well, when we were planning this, we were thinking, oh, we'll just grab random toys off the shelves, and we definitely will do that, and it will be a nice surprise. But I thought, given the fact that this figure has literally just dropped into our laps as of recording this video only a few days ago, I thought, Andy, why don't we start talking about one specific toy, specifically talking about the Fallen? Or is it actually the Fallen? Or is
Well,
it
yeah.
what's his actual name again?
Megatronus.
Megatronus.
Yes. I know you're a big fan of the 13
Fallen.
Primes. We'll get
Oh.
into that another episode, I'm sure.
Ever since this got announced, like when they started talking about the 13 as a line, I was like, I'm out. I'm going to save myself some money. Everything will be grand because I don't care about the 13. And then they showed this toy off, and I was like, oh my god, like they've actually done it. It is a Dreamwave inspired, allegedly designed by Pat Lee, actually brought to life by Andrew Wildman in War Within Volume 2. It is the figure that I have been waiting for ever since that really dodgy titanium class, all the way back
Yeah.
in 2004?
Oh, God, yeah.
2005. Andy, you've got the figure in hand and you've got him in robot mode. Tell me a little bit about your thoughts on this guy in robot mode.
Well, it's really a challenge. Like you, I saw this video when it was this figure when it was revealed on the I think it was the Hasbro Pulse video, and I remember thinking, oh wow, that is literally like it's walked off the page, and it is. He is just look. I know I've got friends of mine who have not yet picked this up, and they are literally the gnashing of teeth is I can hear it from wherever they are across the country because they are so desperate to get hold of this thing. And I would say this is definitely worth picking up, even if you're not a fan of the 13 for a leader class toy. And let's be honest, within Transformers fandom, we've had some debates in the past amongst ourselves about what makes a leader class toy and is it worth the money, and this is worth the money. And I'm very happy to say it because I've moaned myself about enough recent toys. This is an excellent figure. He just works. And we'll get into this as we discuss it, Dave. But as I'm sure you've picked up as well, it's the fact that there's so much you can do with him. I've got him in this configuration, kind of, with the cannon and the sword. He's got this spear on the back. He's got the flank, but you can adapt it. You can have it looking the way you want to look, and that's, I think, definitely part of the appeal for this figure.
The last leader figure that I bought was the Studio Series Galvatron. Bought it, had handled that figure plenty of times before, bought it purely because of the fact that it was the 86 color scheme, and I'm a sucker, just like most Transformers fans. Like, I was fine with it, but I must admit, I bemoan the fact that I was paying over £50 here in the UK to get another Galvatron. I bought this, and the fact that it was the same price it wasn't even a thought in my head. I feel like this toy seems like such good value for money, and I don't know if that's like a trick in my brain, because we know how the cost of these things has worked out. It's worked out by plastic piece count and things like that, but he's such a chunky boy in robot mode that I was just like, oh my god, I love how this guy feels. I love how this guy looks. I love the heft to him. As you said, the customizable nature of the flame effects, of the weapon storage, of just the weapons that you get with him. Yeah, I was in love, like, from the minute I took this guy out of the box. I think the only thing that sort of had me a bit dubious before I took him out was how small he looks in the box. He looks
Yeah.
tiny.
There's
That
a
box
lot
is
of dead space,
huge.
isn't there? In the box, there's a lot of dead
So
space.
much.
So it's you're looking and thinking, oh, but then, like you said, once you get him in hand, uh,
Yeah.
there's not many bots nowadays that like I get them in hand and just kind of go, oh wow, and he definitely has that factor to him. Um,
Yeah.
and maybe that's because with us both knowing the Dreamwave design, the obviously the story from the War Within, the character as he
Mm.
appeared in there, but I don't think it's just that. As you say, he's got that heft. He's the joints on mine. There's nothing loose. Everything feels good. He's got,
Mm.
which some people find very important. He's got the opening and closing hands. So when he's
Mhm.
holding his weapons, he's not going to drop them.
No.
It's just a really well crafted toy that has that heft to it, that chunkiness to it, and that actually
Mm.
feels worth the money, which, you know, these things aren't cheap anymore, are they? But yeah, you
No.
feel like you're getting what you paid for.
I am besotted. Like, if this doesn't end up being my toy of the year, then I will it will take something incredible to come out. What I will say about this, and this I think ties into what I said earlier and really hopefully cements to people just how impressed I am by this toy. When this was announced and it was the 13, I was like, well, of course, the Fallen figure, because we'd had the leaks and all of that stuff, and people were like, it's going to be the Fallen. The fact that this wasn't based on the movie design, which is arguable to say the truest version of the Fallen, certainly the most well recognized version. The fact that they went with the Dreamwave design was excellent, and the fact that they've pumped out such a good toy has actually made me go, you know what? I think I'm going to buy the rest of the 13.
You're in.
I think I'm in because if this toy is as good as he is, then I feel like there's something to be discovered in this line outside of it's the aerial bots, it's the Constructicons,
Yeah.
because of course you're going to buy them. Having seen what Vortex looks like, I feel like there's a leap here. And I don't own any more either. I don't have the aerial bots yet because I foolishly went ahead and pre-ordered the aerial bots with a toy that's not out yet. So they are stuck in online toy shop limbo until Red Alert comes out. My mistake. But yeah, I think I am on board with the 13 just because I want to see how good a toy line this actually turns out to be.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
I was lucky enough, and I think I don't know if you had the time, Dave, but I was lucky enough to experience Primer Prime
mm,
at the Minicon, and again, what
mhm,
a solid toy. So I'm not surprised he's as good as he is, but he is very, very
yeah.
good.
To be clear here, you haven't actually transformed
I
him yet.
haven't. No, I've not. I've been messing around with him in bot mode so much that I haven't actually put him into his tank mode. So I'm interested to hear your thoughts on what the transformation is actually like.
So I will say, and don't get me wrong, I when I say this as a critique, I am sure that it is a failing on my part rather than anything else. I find the transformation to be slightly unclean. In other words, whenever I've tried to transform this guy, which has only been a couple of times, in fairness, I've had parts pop off,
Right.
which isn't really a bad thing because everything just clips on really nicely and things like that. His hip flaps um, and his chest piece, they have popped off every single time that I've tried to transform him, which, okay, fine, it is what it is. Having said that, though, I love the transformation. I think how it all works is super nice. It does leave and you'll probably be able to see that there are some gaps that are left, especially at the front of the tank, but they're minor and you would only really notice them if you're looking at it from a particular angle. Certainly the fact that his head is just stuck underneath, but again, he's so low to the ground anyway that you would have to be looking down and up at it to be able to see it. These are minor quibbles for what I think is a wonderful vehicle mode. Very much reminding me of Tarn and Bludgeon that came out, God, a couple of years ago now. But you've got the swivel. The gun can move, and again, the customizable nature of the fact that you can put the flame effects, in so many different ports to customize it, as you see fit. To be honest, is really really nice. Yeah, you and I both very much of the same opinion that we like to display our bots in robot mode, but I think it is a solid alt mode and a solid transformation. I think once you sort of get the knack of it. But there is one thing about the transformation which, if you've not transformed it yet, I mean, you might be aware of this, you might not be. But the thing that surprised me the most is his front treads, the way that they split and fold in to form the inside of his chest is fantastic. Like, when I figured that out, I was like, oh my God, I don't remember ever seeing that before. And whenever I come across something new, yeah.
I think there's great engineering on it. It's, if there's the slight tolerance issues and things pop off, that could be a bit annoying. But then, would you rather it break? I mean, it's
Yeah.
obviously designed that if that pressure's put on it, it'll pop off, but you can just pop it back on. I just think it feels like a really well engineered bot, and I don't want to sound like just a cheerleader for Hasbro here, because not all of their bots have been perfect in recent years, as much as we've had some really good ones. But I really do feel like this figure, it does knock it out of the park. It kind of almost goes beyond the expectations that I had. I knew it looked good, and I knew I wanted one, but to get it as the first toy from this new line as well, it's set a really high bar. I worry that I'll measure everything up against this figure, because, as you say, this could well be already the figure of the year. It will take something pretty spectacular, I think, to kind of knock this off its perch.
I feel like the only way that you're going to be able to beat this guy is with a commander class, because I mean the commander classes have been consistently excellent. Any thoughts perhaps on what this might be remolded as? I've heard a few people wondering if this is the bones of Studio Series 86 Megatron.
Well, when it appeared, a lot of people thought it was some kind of remolding of an existing design. The designers confirmed, nope, it's not. It's completely new. I agree completely. I think you could definitely see them doing one hell of a Megatron out of this. It is proportionally, it's like that build, the cannon, everything. You could definitely see this being remolded into a Studio Series 86 Megatron. And yes, it would transform into a tank. And yeah, I get the moaning and grumbling about that. But if it's as good a figure as this one, to have that Megatron on your shelf, I'd buy it. I'd definitely buy it. I'm not sure about what else. There's probably a lot of heavy hitters that could suit this. Was it Clench from the IDW comics rather? I'm trying to remember the name of the one that they had in there. That Drift worked with, maybe. But if they keep making these and it looks as good as this one does, it's going to get expensive very quickly.
Yeah, exactly. And hey, you know what? I would be perfectly happy with them if they wanted to go down that route. Trying to tweak this and remold this a little bit. I would take a War Within Megatron out of this.
Yeah, that'd be a good one as well. Oh, hello Hasbro.
Yeah.
Let's get that made.
I know.
That would be very nice.
But a phenomenal toy, absolutely in love with it. Well done, Hasbro. The entire team just absolutely knocked this out of the park. And yeah, like you've got me buying the 13 now just to find out what else you've got. And to be honest, what you just said there about the other figure being really, really nice, Primer. Um, I'm very curious now to see what that looks like. So brilliant. Okay, well, that's going to wrap it up. First of all, we also just want to give a special thank you to Toybox Soapbox, whose photos you've seen during the course of this video. And we will be back very, very shortly for some more toy talk. So, Andy, say goodbye to everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.
And we will see you all in the very next video. Tell us what you think of the Fallen down below, and what other figures would you like to see taken out of this mold, because believe it or not, even at £55, I'd buy this toy shop.